Hey dudes and dudettes, Mr. Theorist here, and welcome to something new for this channel, kinda. If you're a regular on this channel, you know that we like to do things called retro ramble reactions and ramble reaction reviews, where either I'm with some other guy and we sort of talk about movies that have just come out, or retro ramble reactions where I personally have kind of talked about an old movie with the guy, or my retro club where I've kind of done Buffy the Vampire Slayer videos at the moment. I decided to do something different because one of my favourite TV shows has recently come back onto TV called Doctor Who. You may have heard of it. And I decided, why not start doing a review series on it? And maybe it's partly because the new Doctor's female and I kind of want a different perspective on the fact that it's a female character. Or maybe just because I wanted to bring her along, but this is my partner Stacey.
Hello.
And she is going to accompany me in this review series of the latest season of Doctor Who. Don't ask me to tell you which season it is. I've lost count by now. So yeah, and the basic idea is we'll talk about the plot of the episode, and then we'll bounce off each other about what we think about it, and maybe give it a rating if I remember by the end of the video. Kind of like how I do most of my reviews. So we'll go over the plot and then we'll give you our thoughts, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is completely new, doing this like this, so bear with us. Okay, so I'll talk over the plot and then you can tell me what you think, and then I'll say what I think, and then if you disagree with me we can argue and talk. Okay, so we've literally just watched it. And the plot of the episode is pretty basic for a Doctor Who storyline. We don't get the Doctor for, it's got to be at least 10 minutes, isn't it, of non-Doctor stuff. And we just get that there's a kid with his grandma and his grandma's new husband, and they're trying to, no, it's before that, because it's a modern day TV show, it has to have YouTube in it. Topical. And this kid is making a video about this magical woman that he wants to commemorate, and we assume it's the Doctor because the Doctor is female and he's obviously met her, and that's kind of the idea you're meant to get from the beginning of this. And this is our way into the episode, the events that took place, and he explains that the event that happened to him, which was, it started off with him, his grandma and his grandma's husband, and his grandma and his grandma's husband are teaching him how to ride a bike because he's got dyspraxia and he's never learnt to ride his bike. Bearing in mind, this kid's got to be 17, 18 years old, and it's kind of like, it's a problem he has. He tries, he fails, and he's got a bit of a temper to him, and he throws the bike away. They're practicing on a cliff. For some reason, they're on like a cliff really high up. Yeah. Because after he throws his bike, like they sit on the cliff, and you're like, why would you practice this high up if you've got dyspraxia and you can't ride a bike? Anyway, his grandma and grandma's husband say, well, you can go fetch your bike. We've got a train to catch, so bye. All right then, fine. And he goes to fetch his bike where there is a forest down below in the cliffs. And he sees his bike, but instead there's like these cool glowy lights that anyone who's watched Doctor Who or anything alien, you know, you don't go near, you don't touch. And they begin to make different shapes, and then they make one that looks like a button. And what does he do? The same thing everyone would do. He presses it, and this seems to summon some sort of egg thing, cocoon, that turns up, and he just goes, I'm going to touch it. And it hurts him, so he rings the police. Well, he rings someone. At the same time this is happening, we meet another one of our main characters. There's a police girl. She's new to the police force, and she is basically asking her superior, look, I'm bored of dealing with simple traffic violations. I want something different. And he's like, oh, that's good then, because just so happens the big event of the episode just happened and we can give it to you. And then she goes to visit, and she's like, she goes to where the guy is, and because she's pretty smart. She doesn't assume that it's anything special. She just basically says, oh, you're pulling a prank on me. He's like, no, seriously, this is a thing. No, you're pulling a prank on me. No, touch it. So she touches it. Well, you really stop touching things you don't know about. She touches it, she's like, ow, it's cold, which automatically means that he didn't make it. And she goes, okay, what are we going to do about it? Same time, we then go and we see that the guy's grandma and husband are on a train. The train randomly stops and it's being attacked by some weird some weird thing we don't quite see it. It's hiding in the dark. The train gets stopped, all the lights go out, and the grandma's first reaction is, I'll call my grandson and ask my grandson what to do. Calls the grandson. She just about gets out where it is the train has stopped before the phone call cuts out. The police woman, who you find out she is old friends with the kid, they drive off in the police car to go to the grandma. So we've got all of our main characters together on the train now, and another character as well. He's kind of important. And then they start to see this weird alien. It's like an amalgamation of massive grey worm things with some sort of electrical thing in the centre of it. And just as it gets close, smash! In comes the ceiling of the train, and it's the Doctor! Oh, she can't remember who she is at this point. She grabbed hold of something that you don't even know what, she just grabs something randomly, doesn't she, and electrocutes it.
Yeah.
You don't quite see what it is, it's just like, zap, hey, we've knocked it out, all cool. And just as they're all like, oh, what happened? She's like, oh, yeah, I saved the day, it's all cool. And gets back up and zaps all of the characters, the Doctor, Grandma, the Grandma's husband, the boy, the cop, and this other random hoodie guy that's there. And the Doctor's like, okay, she manages to kind of knock the alien out a second time. No, it flies off, doesn't it? Yeah, it flies off. And then the Doctor kind of consoles everyone, but the hoodie guy, instead of everyone going, yeah, we're fine, this is all right, goes, nope, and runs out of there. And they're like, what was that? And she's like, it's an alien. Fair enough, it's an alien. But there is one character, the husband of the grandma, who's like, I don't believe in aliens. I'll talk about that in a bit, because, yeah. Anyway, they then, she goes, well, what other freaky stuff has happened? Has anyone else seen anything weird? The kid puts his hand up, and obviously they go off to where the cocoon is, but the cocoon has vanished, and they're like, okay, where's it gone? We then flash to someone completely different, driving a truck, and he's kidnapped the cocoon and taken it to his garage with a friend's help. He tells a friend to go, gives him a $5 or something, and tells him to go get a drink, and then he puts the cocoon in the middle of his room and sets up cameras, and he's acting like he clearly knows what this thing is, or he expects he knows what this is, and he pulls up a chair, and he's got a crowbar, and he sits there in front of it. It then cracks open, and there's this weird mechanical super soldier thing inside. He then questions it and says, where is my sister? And the alien looks at him confused, looks in the back at him, asks me again. And he goes, where is my sister? And the alien kills him! I thought he was frying his face, not freezing his face when I saw it.
It was electricity.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was electricity. It's blue and it kind of makes a buzzy sound. But you then later find out when the Doctor, they all go to the kid's house, or the kid's grandma's house. They all find out that when they were shocked by the alien, that it's left some sort of imprint on them. It turns out these are micro bombs. The Doctor grabs hold of the kid's phone and goes, oh, I'm going to rewire this, and touches a few buttons, and all of a sudden it's something different than a phone. And that's how they manage to track where the cocoon is. They get to the location, the cocoon's burst open, they see the super soldier but they can't keep up with him, so they go back and investigate the garage, and they see the body of the guy who took the cocoon to question it. And they say that, oh, it looks like his face has been frozen, completely frozen, and his jaw's been ripped up, and a tooth is missing. Wow, that's quite grim for a kids show. They don't show you any of it, but they're very descriptive about it. And this obviously upsets the Doctor, because the Doctor's always upset when an alien comes and just starts harming humans. She then says that the tracker that she tried to use isn't going to work anymore. So they all decide to use their own ways of investigating. The husband says that he talks to bus drivers, because bus drivers always know stuff. The grandma... Well, she talks to nurses?
She goes on WhatsApp for her nurses.
Yeah, WhatsApp for her nurses. Because gotta stay topical. Gotta stay topical on in TV these days. The kid goes on, I'm guessing it's Facebook he goes on, because later on you see him scrolling through what looks like Facebook. And eventually they find the location of this weird thing, and instead of finding the super soldier, they find the weird wormy electrical ball thing on top of a building. And the Doctor explains that at first she thought this maybe might be a fight between these two alien species, because clearly they're two distinct species, but then she figures out that no, this thing isn't, the big ball thing isn't a species on its own, but like a subspecies. Like all the different worms are different entities that have all been amalgamated together to create this super machine computer thing.
Gather data.
Yeah, to gather data. Then the super soldier turns up and is like, back away from that. And the Doctor does what the Doctor does and goes like, tell me who you are! And the alien's just like, okay. Takes off the mask. Because, oh yeah, the Doctor asks for why did you take the teeth, isn't it? Why did you take the teeth? And he takes the mask off and go, because you always wear trophies of your kills. And his whole face is dotted with teeth. Okay. You say so. And he explains that the reason he is there is it's kind of predatory, isn't it? It's kind of like the Predators, where they're dropped off on this planet and they have to hunt a Pacific human. And if he finds this Pacific human and takes this human back to his planet, then he's rewarded with being the leader of his race. And the Doctor figures out that, hang on now, then why have you got this here? Unless the supercomputer, you brought this along to cheat and find a human quickly. That's cheating.
Because the alien said that they weren't supposed to have weapons. Yeah,
it said that the alien said that when he comes here, he's got to go completely unarmed and has to figure out where the human is on his own. But he's cheating. Then the Doctor's about to confront him, but he flashes away, and she's like, "Damn, short-range teleporters." They then have to figure out, okay, then... Oh no, yeah, because when they are investigating the supercomputer, they make a hologram appear, don't they?
Yeah.
And it shows the hoodie guy of the train. It shows his face. And then once the alien explains what he's there for, they figure, oh, like, he must be the trophy. So they go back on social media, they find this guy and where he works, because everyone posts everything on Facebook.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're ever a stalker and you want to find someone, use Facebook. Facebook tells you everything. Kind of does though, really, doesn't it? Kind of a bad thing about Facebook. Yeah, and he works at a construction site, and this is where we sort of amp up to the finale. The guys working a crane. The super soldier begins to climb up the crane to try and get to the guy. The Doctor works with her team to basically get a different crane to level up with that one, and then they're going to tell the guy to run across the crane and get to their crane. Doesn't quite go to plan, and the alien manages to get to the guy before he goes to the other crane, but the Doctor leaps over and climbs up, and just as the alien's like, I'm going to take him away, she's like, but you'll need this, and it's a key component from the cocoon, which you found out was actually a ship. And he's like, okay, I'll blow the bombs up, because it's got like a little thing in it. Oh, I'll blow them all up. And she's like, blow them up and I'll drop this and then you can't go anywhere. It's like, yeah, so what, and presses the button anyway. And instead of everyone else dying from the bombs, he starts to wiggle around in pain. And she's like, yeah, by the way, I kind of transferred the bombs into the alien, so when you interface to get the data, they kind of went into you. And he's like, he's starting to bleed. It's like, it's bluish black blood's like pouring out of him. And he starts wriggling in pain. He drops the guy. The Doctor gets hold of the boy, the boy kicks the alien, and I was just like, whoa, okay, and the alien starts to fall, but he gets hold of the thing, and he teleports out of there. And nice continuity to how the Doctor used to react to this. She actually kind of metaphorically backlashes the kid and goes, you had no right to do that. Doesn't kind of like really have a go in for it, but kind of just states that, which I thought was really nice compared to like how David Tennant and Maximus era, they were very heavy on humans are not allowed to harm aliens. The Doctor can if it's necessary, but humans are not allowed. And so they're all saved, but the weird supercomputer is still trying to mess with the crane. So the grandma and the husband are going to stop that, and because the Doctor earlier zapped him with electricity, they're going to use another electricity source to zap the alien. The husband hooks up all the wires, and the grandma climbs the crane slightly to zap it. Unfortunately, as she zaps it, it's too much of a power surge, and she falls off the crane and she dies. And that's when we cut back to where the beginning of the episode started, and we find out the kid who was doing the YouTube video at the beginning, you find out it's not the Doctor he was actually commemorating, it was his grandma, because his grandma is the greatest woman he's ever known, which, oh, it's touching. Kind of a somber ending to an first episode of a season, but it was like, oh, and then you have the funeral that happens, and through this whole episode, you kind of forget like 10 minutes in, but the TARDIS hasn't been there. It was referenced vaguely at the beginning, wasn't it? That she lost the TARDIS, and that's where she fell through the roof because she kind of fell out the TARDIS. She's like, oh, can you guys help me? I need to build something to track where the TARDIS is. They go back to the garage, because that's in garage. Well, he's dead, so what does it matter? She connects a microwave up with a bunch of other stuff, and she's got this cool new sonic screwdriver she calls like a sonic Swiss Army knife now. That's going to be the new thing, isn't it? Instead of sonic glasses, it's Swiss Army knife now.
Swiss Army knife.
That's what I said.
You said swish.
Swish? Swiss. Grammar lessons. And yeah, she hooks it all up, she turns on a screwdriver, and instead of her just being zapped away to the TARDIS, everyone gets zapped, and they get zapped into space. And it's all slow motion, and there's very operatic music, and she turns around and sees everyone else with her, and then the episode ends. Didn't even still wait around for the trailers for the next episode, did we?
No.
No, we didn't. It'll be a surprise. It'll be a surprise. And that is the episode. So yeah, before I go into how I feel, I will give the stage to Stacey and tell me what you thought of this first episode of season X.
I really enjoyed it. It was really interesting to see the Doctor's new personality, and obviously first episode she's still very disorientated, which David Tennant was, Matt Smith was, Capaldi I can't quite remember how he was, but yeah, he was. It is good. She seems very friendly, light-hearted. Reminds me a bit of Matt Smith, a little. That's just my opinion. And very likeable so far. I loved the fact she made her own sonic screwdriver, though it wasn't a screwdriver. And she kind of referenced the fact that it's new, the Doctor being a woman, but by a line saying, new things are scary. I thought that was definitely a reference to herself.
Yeah, I like this episode, but I'm starting to notice a trend with New Who, because that's kind of what we dub all of like post Eccleston onward stuff, and that is this is kind of like the carbon copy of like each season open. It'll always be there's a slight misunderstanding from the Doctor will be disorientated, the Doctor has to find all his gear again, because it always seems to be the Doctor has lost his gear, or at least some of his gear, so he has to then either build new gear or just get a change of wardrobe, and he has to discover what this new version of him is like, or her is like as it is now. So it's good, unfortunately, it feels very samey to, Tennant was because obviously Eccleston, we didn't get to see him regenerate, so we didn't see Eccleston, like, question his new self. Tennant was the first, therefore it was fun, it was interesting to see, because it was the first time, because I obviously watch Old Who as well, it was the first time the Doctor really emotionally, like, didn't want to lose his previous self. He does a lot more when he's Tennant regenerating, but that was really cool. But then when he went from Tennant to Smith, that's when you were like, oh, so they're copying the way that he questions himself, and he gets his gear, and he's all confused and disorientated. The humans have to help him find himself in the episode, and then from Smith to Capaldi, they did the exact same thing for the opening. And then again here, we didn't see the regeneration itself because we kind of saw it at the end of the last season. But it still follows the same beats of the Doctor doesn't know the Doctor doesn't know who the Doctor is. I'm not going to say he or she anymore. Doctor doesn't know who the Doctor is. The Doctor then has to rely on the humans a lot more for the episode, but then we'll slowly find the personality a bit more. We'll start to show the new traits of the new version of the Doctor. We'll slowly start collecting the gear, and then eventually, with the Doctor's wit, we'll defeat the alien of the episode, and then we'll top it off with the slowdown of the finale, and then the change of wardrobe. Usually we get a new change of TARDIS, which I'm guessing we'll probably get at the end of the next episode.
Yeah,
they've
how they ended it.
They've kind of set the first one up as a two-parter,
yeah.
But at the same time they did end the story. It was just kind of a, oh no, they're in space kind of thing, which kind of a two-parter, kind of not. But it does follow the same beats. It's good and it's different. Part of me was hoping the Doctor a bit more would question going from male to female, but at the same time, looking back at it now, it's like, actually the Doctor has always been very forward-thinking and very much ahead of even what the most progressive of us think. And it's just like, oh, okay, I'm a woman now. There's no debating, there's no discussing it. It's just, okay, that happened, fair enough, move on.
I really like the fact they did that.
Yeah.
I was worried that there would be too much focus, like, oh, this is different, that is different, but it still the Doctor. Does it really matter about the gender change?
What do you think, though, when I talked about that it follows the same beats and stuff? Did you notice that as well?
Oh, yes, definitely. Because I did mention David Tennant and Matt Smith.
Yeah, it very much reminds you of them, very much. Like, even, like, the one thing I think Capaldi did differently is they kind of vaguely reference the fact that he looks like the human that was in the Pompeii episode.
Yeah.
It was like the only thing that was different about the whole regenerate. It's kind of like the regeneration story, the first episode always, isn't it? The Doctor discovering himself, and I don't know whether the new thing, because each Doctor seems to have like a favourite type of food. I don't know if Capaldi had a favourite type of food. I don't think he did. He was just a grumpy Scotsman.
But he played guitar, that was his
Yes,
thing.
that was his thing. He didn't have a type of food, but he played the guitar. But obviously, David Tennant had like a cup of tea, woke his regeneration up completely. Then Matt Smith had fish fingers and custard, and now we potentially have like fried egg sarnie, but that could have just been English fried egg sarnie. So yeah, it's. Don't expect too much, but this is the first one. It always kind of plays out this way. Don't let this be a full judgment of the female Doctor.
I think it was a good way to introduce all the secondary characters.
Yes.
And they were all likeable.
Yeah, it's a very different cast this season. We have the two young kids, which like all the younger audience will then be able to relate to. They are not. They're. I think what they've learned from last season, because I know a lot of the fan base was kind of like this in the last couple of seasons, is they were always getting really young kids to begin with. Like in Capaldi's first season. Is it Capaldi's first season? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where you had the young kids that were like just entering senior school kind of thing, and they were irritating as anything. So I think the fact they've cast like young adults and then as well as the young adult granddad, because that's essentially what he is. He is their granddad. It's cool. So you've got the older guy who is going to be probably very questioning and what's the word for it? It's not optimistic. It's the
Cynical?
other one. I won't say cynical. It's the kind of like when they're always like, "Oh, really? Is that how it is?" kind of thing. I can't think of the word, but very much like the. I can't think of the word. But very much like instead of just accepting the new alien world, it kind of like okay, this is weird, this is different. Like the grown-up thoughts, and then you got the teens who will be like the young wonderment of, oh my god, this is amazing, aliens everywhere. And then you have the Doctor being the Doctor. I haven't seen anything too special about this Doctor at the moment, but again, I'm holding judgment off, so please do hold judgment off yourself. Because we should give her at least half the season to show what she can bring to the Doctor. I'm really hoping the fan base isn't going to be as closed-minded as some of the fan base was just during the trailers and the reveal of her being a female Doctor, and actually give her some time to kind of grow on you a bit. It might be the point where we get halfway through and we're just like, there's nothing really special about her, and the only big thing that the writers are trying to use with her is the Doctor's a woman now, which I really hope they're not doing. And I think if they leave that, I think if they kind of just go, yeah, she's a woman, deal with it, and then, because I always like it when Doctor Who kind of like explores a new emotional aspect of the Doctor.
Oh, there is a point of people treating her differently. That's something that could be interesting.
Yes. Yeah, that could be something, especially like the thing is, I don't want Doctor Who to go too political, because I noticed that was something that they were kind of testing the waters with Capaldi. Do you remember the episode with the weird mummy people last season, and the Doctor became blind?
Oh yeah.
And there was a big fight that happened, and the Doctor was like, "Guns are very wrong. Guns are very wrong," and it was like, yeah, because you're not trying to talk about the political climate in America, are you, Doctor Who? Which I don't mind. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think I would mind if they were to kind of walk the line slightly on the idea that because she is a woman now, people might not take her as authoritarian as the male Doctor.
In other ways, it could be they could find her more approachable.
Yeah.
So it could go both ways.
Yes. I think they should walk the line very finely on some occasions, but if they're going to, don't be afraid to walk that line, I think is a thing that they should do. This is a good chance for them to kind of try new things, and I really hope they try new things with this new Doctor. So,
what did you think about her outfit at the end?
I want to say the word typical, but not in the sense of, oh, it's just standard kind of like, look, this is typical clothing. It's more like, it's typical the Doctor's wardrobe of clothing, where it's like, that's a weird kind of dress sense.
Yeah.
The Doctor has to have a long coat.
Oh, I love the long coat.
This is now a well-established New Who thing. The Doctor has to have a long... Hang on, what's the Doctor?
David Tennant did. Christopher Eccleston
had a leather coat that wasn't long.
I'm
I'm trying to think back to the old Who's as well. I think a lot of the old Who's did, but not all of them.
Yeah,
but
Tom
it is
Baker.
Tom Baker did. McCoy did. I believe Cricket Doctor did. What's his name? Curly Doctor. The one that everyone hated. The other Baker, Colin Baker.
Yeah.
He had a long coat. He had the really bright and colourful long coat. So yeah, it does seem to be a trademark. Not all of them do, but I think for New Who, definitely post Eccleston, it's the Doctor has to have a long coat. But she's got kind of really high trousers, doesn't she?
I wasn't sure whether it was a skirt or not, because
yeah, some people were debating that before, like when the reveal was shown.
you could see her legs, so it could have been shorts.
Could have been shorts.
But the coat's the main thing.
It's typical. Sorry about that. We cut out for a second there. yeah, this video's gone on for quite a long time. So we'll have to end it there. It's a very typical Doctor Who, but it kind of looks nice and snazzy. Any other final thoughts?
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it's long. Probably my plot summary was quite long. It might take a few episodes before I start being able to shorten that down. But I didn't want to miss a lot of stuff. I kind of missed some stuff, but not a lot of major stuff. Yeah, you okay?
Yeah.
You enjoyed it? I enjoyed it. It's a season opening, and they're all with very carbon copy, as I said. So I don't want to say bad things about it, just because I'm like, well, it's kind of like all the other New Who openings. They kind of all follow the same beats. I liked it. Was I wowed by it? No. Was I wowed by her? No. Yeah, it was good. It was good. At the moment, she's not shown me anything that's really brought anything new to the table. She's a woman. Yeah, okay. She's a woman. The Doctor is an alien at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's a male or female. The Doctor is an alien. Yeah. Hopefully she'll bring something new. I think that bringing someone new, bringing a female, they could explore some cool new things. But overall, fun, open episode. Nothing meh, but nothing too exciting. So, let's try and start this from the first episode. Rating out of 10, I would give it a solid 6. Solid 6.
Yeah, I think 6. It was a good first episode, but first episode I don't expect much.
I want to say 5, but to me saying 5, it's like but it wasn't It was just it was entertaining. It was entertaining for a good opening of Doctor Who.
And also it had strong characters.
And it unlike some previous seasons, it actually has some strong sub-characters from the get-go, which is interesting. And we'll see where we go from here. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed this review. First of, I think it's 12 or 13, which will lead us straight into Christmas. I'm not quite sure exactly how many it is. And we will see you guys same time next week for episode 2, whatever it was. This has been episode 1, The Girl Who Fell to Earth. See you later.
Bye.